All right, obviously this needed to be done. I've put together the 20th anniversary special edition throwback figures from the 5 sets that I've reviewed from this series. And I also have 4 of the 5 figures in their original forms, so we can do a little comparison there. I think it's really cool that LEGO came out with these and released them just to the general market rather than putting them into some super exclusive convention specific, figure pack or something like that. But, it's interesting to really consider who's going to end up owning these. I guarantee that relative to the number of people who will end up with at least one of these, the number who will feel compelled to collect all 5, much less the number of people who will actually get all 5, is tiny. Because never forget, and it can never be overstated, LEGO makes toys. Most of LEGO products that are sold end up in the hands of kids. They're bought by parents for kids. It's not primarily a collector thing. So most of these that actually end up getting sold are not going to be for the purpose of collection. It just feels like a cool, novel idea to me. Kids getting modern toys and in the process also getting some throwback toys. I mean, I guess the whole retro thing is kind of in these days. We went through the 80s retro fad or phase and kind of getting into 90s retro territory now. Anyway, here are the actual classic figures that I have. I don't have an original Lando because that came in the Cloud City set from 2013, which is crazy expensive right now. With each of these pairs, the original is on the right as you're looking at it. And as I covered in my individual reviews of the sets that these came in many cases the prints for the older ones are better. And also for the Force wielders here, the original figures came with chrome lightsaber hilts, which were pretty fancy and pretty memorable. They just don't do that anymore. They're not the most durable things. That paint, or actually the coating, which has actual metals in it, doesn't stick to plastic that well long term. Now, right here, this is a case where the new print is definitely better, at least on the torso, but on some of them where you can see a lighter color printed over a darker color, or at least a different color, the older ones had more opacity to them. So they just had a brighter finish to them. Also with the Lando, the new cape is just a little bit shinier. I think it's a nicer cloth material that they use there. Colors have changed a little bit because LEGO got rid of their old brown color and both of their main gray colors between 2003 and 2004 and replaced them with more vibrant versions. So looking at these 2 hair pieces, the new color is much for the brown is much more reddish. They actually call it reddish brown. And on the grays that you can see, like on the hips here, on the right, the new one is considered to be, or the newer one is considered to be light bluish gray because it actually has some blue mixed in. The same goes for the materials used for the heads for Vader. Again, notice how much more crisp and clean the old print is for the face there, which is surprising. For the most part, I don't recommend that you consider buying the sets that these come in just to get these, just to collect these, with the one possible exception being Lando. I feel like even today, and even as a non-original figure that is a desirable figure to get, it looks really cool even today, even by today's standards, in my opinion. It's unique, and the chances of being able to get one of the originals for a reasonable price are just non-existent. I don't think you'll ever be able to get an original for a reasonable price. Just the rarity is too great and the desirability is too high. But the others are relatively easy to get on the aftermarket. You can even find some in original forms. You can even find some in pretty good shape. And if you get the originals, you don't have to deal with that big print that's super obvious on the ones that don't have capes. That's another thing that's nice about this Lando. Even though he does have the print on the back there. It's covered up by the cape most of the time, so it's actually a much more viable figure to just use on its own for whatever purposes you want, compared to these three here in the center. Vader's another one that, again, has that same big ugly print, ugly in my opinion, print on the back, but with the cape on, it's no problem. You don't have to see it. Anyway, that's that. I just wanted to bring all these together in one video since it is a collectible set. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts about these in general, if you have any thoughts about the quality, about the stands, the collectability, the prints, just anything that you want to say about these on the whole. Feel free. I'll talk to you again as soon as I can.